Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate Day number 785, May the 18th, 2019, Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in this Saturday morning. Okay, boy, we got a lot to cover today, so let's go ahead and get to it. Well, we have Papadopoulos on Laura Ingraham telling her that the FBI tried to turn his wife. At the time, she was his girlfriend. She had come from Italy to visit him. So she comes from Italy to visit her boyfriend, Papadopoulos, and it was at that time that the FBI brought her in to testify, at which time they started telling her what a bad guy that Papadopoulos was, that she should stay away from him, that he was up into some really bad things, he was into some trouble, and that she should just, leave this guy. In fact, they went even farther. They tried to convince her to go to work for them and to wear a wire. To help entrap him. Now, she says that she thinks that that's because they found out that she, of course, worked at the EU and knew MISFID quite well. And that was a problem. So they wanted her out of the picture because she could talk about what she knew about MISFID. But still, it's extraordinary that the FBI would have the gall to say to someone, hey, this person you're dating, they're a real bad guy. Would you like to wear a wire and trap them? Man, these are some bad apples. These are some really bad apples, and that's why the whole bushel of them, a bunch of them there at the top, are going to jail. And so should they. Holy smoke. Tried to turn his wife and get her to wear a wire against him. You know, Papadopoulos is all smiles these days if you look at him on these interviews. And why is that? It's because he knows that once this thing is all aired out, even if we only get 50% of what's out there or what could be discovered, even if we only get half of the truth, it's still going to be plenty for Papadopoulos, along with Carter Page and probably Stone and Caputo and all these guys, Flynn, who the FBI was attempting to set up. All these individuals, they're all going to have major civil suits against the government. Now, I don't know if they'll be filing against these individuals personally or against the government. My guess is the government, because that's who they were working for at the time. So all these guys are going to have major civil lawsuits, and I expect that these cases will not even go to court. They'll probably just be out-of-court settlements. I assume that Trump at the end will pardon every damn one of them. Obviously, they were all set up. These guys are all going to end up, it may take 5 years from now for this all shakes itself out and for all this is done. But ultimately, these guys all are going to have major civil suits against the government when this is all said and done. It's going to cost the taxpayers a lot of money. Unfortunately, we're going to be the reason all these folks get rich, and they certainly deserve to be compensated for what they've been through, but it just sucks that it's always the taxpayers that have to fork over the money. They should go get the money from Halper and Downer and Comey and Lynch and Obama and Clinton and all the perps. That's who should be footing the bill for it, not all of us. But that's how things go. William Barr has told Fox News that he now has more questions than when he started about the Spygate situation and the surveillance on the Trump campaign and all the things that encompass that thereof. He says that the answers that he has been getting have not been sufficient. He says that they are currently in the information gathering phase of these investigations. He says that he's quite curious about the Trump Tower meeting. I'm not talking about the one with Vets on the Sky. We're talking about the one that occurred on January 6th, where Clapper told Comey to go tell Trump about the PP-Gate story, which he did. And then Clapper turns around the next day and tells Jake Tapper over there at CNN the fact that the meeting occurred, which provided the news hook for BuzzFeed to release the dossier, which was the whole plot. And I'm pretty sure AG Barr has figured that out. It's pretty much of a no-brainer. Don't you think? A.G. Barr says that he's okay with Uncle Bob the Executioner testifying in front of Congress, and he said he thinks it will eventually happen, that they're working out the details. Oh, you bet he's happy, because he knows exactly what's going to happen. He knows that Mueller is going to get raked over the coals. He knows very simply, because a lot of the things that the Democrats will want Mueller to say, he cannot comment on. You know why? There's an ongoing investigation. There's an ongoing investigation. Mueller's not going to answer any of their damn questions. He's not going to give them what they want. He put out his report. What do they think he's going to do? Come in and testify and then change his entire story? I don't think so. They're going to get what they got. And that's how it's going to go. Now, when the Republicans start questioning Uncle Bob the Executioner, wow. They're not going to be asking him a lot of stuff about ongoing investigations or anything like that. They're going to be asking him about his investigation, which is now concluded, which is fair game, and about how he conducted it, and about all the things that he left out and all the things that he got wrong. It's not going to be pretty for Uncle Bob the Executioner when he finds his butt sitting on the hot seat in front of Ratcliffe, Jordan, and some of these other guys. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Trump tweeted out yesterday that if Michael Flynn was under investigation, and he was, all the way back to 2014, go read my timeline. If Michael Flynn was under investigation, then why was I not told that so that I could make a change? That's a very good question. It's the same good question is, why didn't they tell Trump when they thought that people in his campaign may be targets of Russians trying to infiltrate the campaign? He wasn't told about that either. These are very good questions by the president. If they knew that Flynn, and he was, under investigation, then why wouldn't he be briefed on that and say, hey, we know that you're looking at Michael Flynn, as to be your national security advisor. He's currently got a FISA on him. He's under investigation. We think he's doing some really, possibly illegal things with Turkey. We think he may be maybe having a relationship with this Russian national. He's running around with a lot of Russians. But no, nobody ever said a word. Nobody ever said a word, despite the fact that he's getting briefings. Never once in the briefings did they say, hey, Flynn is a guy you better be careful about because currently, he's got some issues and we believe he's under investigation. You might want to think long and hard before you pick him as your national security advisor. Oh, and by the way, we think some members of your team, your campaign team, may be being targeted by Russians. Nope, didn't tell him any of that. Instead, they launched a counterintelligence operation into him and got FISAs on everybody around him. Yep. Go ahead and explain that one to the prosecutor. I'm sure he'll be quite entertained by that answer. Well, it appears that... one other thing on that, too. Sundance on Conservative Treehouse is saying that it is almost certain that Flynn had a FISA on him during the 2016 election. I guess they're waiting for more confirmation, but at this point, they're pretty certain that was the case, and that tells me that probably that's going to be something that we're going to learn when... Remember, yesterday we talked about Emmett Sullivan, the judge, ordering these Flynn documents to be released, and I think that when those documents are released, and my guess is that Sundance, someone has given him a heads up, and so that when these documents are released, we're likely going to find out that, in fact, Michael Flynn did have a FISA on him, and that's, you go out and get a FISA warrant on the guy who was just recently your most recent national security advisor, or, your... one of your top military intelligence people. That's a bit sticky there. You better have a good reason for it. You better have a damn good reason for it. And I don't think they do. Because if the only thing they've got is the fat man, Stefan Halper, saying that he's sitting next to this Russian national, Miss Lakova, and that was a setup too. If that turns out to be the case, uh-oh. Yes, Ocasio-Cortez, the wild-eyed commie, it appears that only 44% of people have a favorable, no, I'm sorry, 44% have an unfavorable view of her, and only 20% have a favorable view of her. 44% unfavorable, 20% favorable. Now here's the kicker. This poll is taken in her home district. Her home district. She only has 20% approval in her home district, 44% disapproval. And the big reason? The Amazon deal. All those jobs. She's going to be a one-term congresswoman. 2 years is all we're going to get of Ocasio-Cortez. Be my guess. It was good while it lasted. We had a lot of fun, but I don't think she's going to make it for a second term. Not at all. She'll be going back to being a bartender. Back to the bar. And she'll be needing a stiff drink, believe me. Breitbart has obtained an exclusive police report from November of 2016, just days before the election, and it's describing how a crack pipe was found in Hunter Biden's rental car. Apparently, Hunter Biden is with another guy in this rental car. They drop it off, and they must have been trashed, because instead of leaving the keys where they're supposed to, and the deposit, when you get a rental car and they have that night deposit, you drop the keys in it for your paperwork. Instead, and a full tank of gas, they left the keys in the locking gas cap. Hunter Biden also left his wallet. Now, you got to be pretty damn drunk to leave your damn wallet in the rental car and to leave your keys in the gas cap, the locking gas cap. His keys are hanging out of the locking gas cap and his wallet's in the car. Oh, but they found more. So they find 2 driver's licenses for Hunter Biden. How many of you have 2 driver's licenses? They find his credit cards, a Secret Service business card identifying him as a Secret Service agent. This guy was probably working that, man. He was working it. Oh, boy, I bet he got a few dates out of that. Let's see. Oh, they found an Attorney General's badge, too. Yes, that's right. He's not only a Secret Service agent, he's an Attorney General as well. They also found a white powdery substance along with that crack pipe. Man, this guy is a screw-up. And keep in mind, he was dishonorably discharged from the military because he tested positive for cocaine and a drug test. And he doesn't deny it. He respects the military's decision. Yeah, he was snorting some coke while he was in the military and they caught him. Yep. Boy, oh boy, this guy's a mess. And he's got some problems coming out of Ukraine. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Former General Counsel James Baker, currently under criminal investigation, was on with Chuck Todd on PMSNBC. And in that conversation, he said that they did know. He knew immediately when he was first made aware of the dossier that it was, in fact, opposition research. He said, yeah, we knew it was opposition research by the Clinton campaign. The first time I was read in on it and was told about it, I was told, yeah, this is opposition research from the Clinton campaign. Now, this is Comey's lawyer at the FBI. He says he was skeptical about the dossier, and he says that they tried to vet it. Oh, really? Well, then good, because there should be some documentation showing the efforts that you took to verify it, Jim. And I'm sure we'll get those documents, Jim, because we all know they exist, don't we? I believe Lindsey Graham's still waiting for those. He asked for them about a month ago. He says that they would have gotten the FISA warrant even without the dossier. Really? McCabe contradicts that. And we'll find out, won't we, Jim? He says it was Papadopoulos information that started the investigation. Well, that's a problem, Jim, because you framed him. You tried to frame him. Not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, but 4 times. You ran spies onto Papadopoulos trying to set him up. And when the prosecutor finally puts the pieces together and realizes that, you, Jim, are going to jail with the other Jim. And a lot of your friends. Prison orange. Prison orange. That's a color you might want to get comfortable with, Jim. Let's see. Oh, you're going to love this little doozy. This one's a new one that we're just learning about now. And we're learning about it from who? Upchuck Todd. He literally asked Baker what he thought about this. He goes, so what do you think about this confidential informant actually being sent into the White House to spy? Who's he talking about? Stefan Halper. First time I've heard about this. Yes, that's right. Apparently Stefan Halper was in the White House at some point during the investigation. Baker says that Attorney General Barr is a good lawyer. He's known him for many years, and he says that he does have credibility. Yep. Now, from all that we've just heard from the General Counsel, James Baker, who was the General Counsel to the Director of the Federal Bureau of I'm With Her, James Comey, his lawyer, saying these things. Now, here's what Comey has said. Comey has said, as of late, that he's still not sure if the dossier is true. Still not sure. 106 allegations made in the dossier. Mueller didn't prove a single damn one of them true. Never even used the word dossier. Almost like he did the entire Mueller report without even referring to the dossier, as if it didn't exist. Right along with Mr. Halper. And those Western intelligence spies that he describes as Russians. Yes, Comey says he's still not sure if the dossier is true. Oh, get this. Not only that, he's still not sure if the dossier was paid for by the rotten Reverend Clinton and the DNC. It's been proven. It's been proven for over 2 years. Well, year and a half. Because Nunes was able to file a lawsuit, which forced Perkins Coie to produce the documents which showed where the payments came from. Yet Comey, to this day, says that he's not even sure if Clinton paid for the dossier. Of course she paid for the dossier, along with the DNC, which she was controlling, according to Donna Brazil's book. Oh man, this guy, he's nuts. He's a psychopath, obviously, but he's got a lot of problems, man. He's got a lot of problems. I mean, I don't know where they're going to send him. I was thinking he's going to the penitentiary, but maybe they'll be sending him to a mental hospital. Jeez, maybe that's what he's shooting for. He's going to go out and pretend he's crazy, hoping that he'll get, the mental institution instead of a penitentiary. I love this stuff. Now, I have people all the time tell me in the comment section how I'm killing myself by drinking Mountain Dew, and do I know what's in it? Well, it's mostly water, to be quite honest with you. It's about 98% water. It's also got high fructose corn syrup, concentrated orange juice. That's good, isn't it? Orange juice. Citric acid. Natural flavor, sodium benzoate, preservatives, caffeine. Oh, that's the good stuff. That's why I drink it. Sodium citrate, urethorbic acid, gum arabic. Okay, didn't know the Arabs chewed gum. We have calcium. We have disodium EDTA to protect the flavor. And we have brominated vegetable oil and yellow number 5. That's what's in it. And it tastes pretty damn good. Okay. Now that we've answered that question, thank you so very much for your concern for my health. I really appreciate that. No, really, I do. I mean, I'm not joking or being sarcastic. I really appreciate those of you who are concerned for my health. Okay. Since we're talking about Stefan Halper, you want some new information on Stefan Halper that you probably haven't heard? I'm thinking you do. The Fat Man. Well, it appears that Stefan Halper's phone number shows up in the DC Madam's logs, which are stored on Cryptome, or Cryptome, however you pronounce that. Cryptome. I looked at the log myself. There it is. Stefan Halper and his phone number. We ought to give him a call. What do you think? Live on a TowerGate video. Unfortunately, if you call the number, you won't get him now because his number has been transferred mysteriously over to his son, whose name is Marin, M-A-R-I-N Halper. Now, so I guess maybe they get the father and son discount from the DC Madam. So, Marin Halper, his son, worked with Nellie Orr. Did you know that? Stefan Halper's son worked with Nellie Orr from 2002 to 2008. You like that coinky dink? Stefan Halper's son worked with Nellie Orr for 6 years, 2002 to 2008. Here's some other things that you probably didn't know. How about this one? Confusion GPS, has offices in Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and ding, 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 London. Lights out in London. Love that tune by UFO. Yep, it's lights out in London, my friend. Fusion GPS at offices in London. You're not going to believe who worked for them in London. I'm about to go through something here that I'm going to call Who Knows Who. Who Knows Who. You're going to like this. Oh, you're going to love this. So is my timeline. So I've been working for about a week now on this site, which I'll probably give you this site at some point, where they use a lot of really intense technical type data analysis, things like that. A lot of different ways of doing it, and they're able to go back and find just about any document you can imagine or any photograph that you can imagine, and you can type in people's names in this program and it will show you if there's any matches. And when you do that, here are some things you come up with that I'm going to call Who Knows Who. You're not going to believe some of these matchups when you use this program. Here we go. Hold on to your seats, my friends. This is going to rock your world. And this is not even all of it. There's more. I'll just get to what I can get to before I run out of time. Okay, Who Knows Who? Christopher Steele and Chris Burrows, his partner at Orbis, worked with Stefan Halper. London, Confusion GPS. Steele and Burrows worked with Halper, the Fat Man. Burrows communicated with Joseph Mifsud, and he has been since 2010. That's Christopher Steele's partner at Orbis. Chris Burrows has been communicating with Joseph Mifsud since 2010. Edward Baumgartner. He worked for Orbis and Hackloot in London. And guess who his teacher was at Dressler? Nellie Orr. And they were classmates at some point. Stefan Halper. Guess who else he works for besides the DOD and the CIA and everybody else? Hackloot. Halper works for Hackloot, along with Alexander down the hatch downer. Michael Gaeta, you're going to like this. Remember him, Michael Gaeta? The FBI agent in Rome that Christopher Steele first went and visited back in June or early July of 2016. Michael Gaeta was also the handler for Stefan Halper, the fat man. Michael Gaeta was Halper's handler. Baumgartner, Nellie and Bruce Orr, and David Kramer all attended Harvard together. Kramer was also affiliated with the same group in Ukraine as was Alexandria Chalupa, a propaganda media organization. You're going to like this one. Glenn Simpson and Mary Jacoby, his wife, knew Bruce and Nellie since 2004 when they worked together at the International Assessment and Strategy Center. And what is that? It's a CIA front company. Simpson and Jacoby also worked with Stefan Halper at the Wall Street Journal since 1996. And all three know Christopher Steele quite well. Halper has known Steele since at least 2009. Mary Jacoby, Glenn Simpson's wife, worked with Bruce Orr on the FIFA investigation. Jacoby also worked with Andrew Weissman. Jacoby also worked with Christopher Steele, Nellie Orr, Peter's been stroking us, and his wife, Melissa Hodgman, at the SEC. Mary Jacoby also worked with Glenn Simpson, her husband, Jonathan Weiner, at the Wall Street Journal before they were married. Oh, you're going to like this one. Rinat Akhmechan. His wife is a Ukrainian national with ties to the FISU. Both know very well Glenn Simpson and his wife Mary Jacoby and Alexandria Chalupa. Akhmechan and his wife know Alexandria Chalupa because she's a Ukrainian national affiliated with this corrupt government organization, the FISU. Remember, Akhmechan was present at the Trump Tower. He also went immediately afterwards, took a subway trip with one of the best friends of the Clintons, where they had dinner and drinks. He was also at the Halifax International Conference, and when asked whether or not he can remember having any conversations with McCain or Kramer, he said he could not remember. Who knows who? You see, my friends, it's a big fat cabal. All these people know each other, and they're all connected to Confusion GPS. I think this is what Devin Nunes is discovering, that the dossier was a combination. It was written by, primarily, Simpson and his wife, drawing from all these sources that we just talked about, that they could pick up the phone and call and get some information. They put it all together right there at Confusion GPS. They moved it over to Steele, where he could launder it back to them in some cases, or to the FBI, or through the State Department, through all these channels. So we have a lot of this information sounds very familiar in the dossier from the early stuff that Jacoby and Simpson were writing for the Wall Street Journal back about 10 years ago in '07. The Manafort stuff's there, and there's a few other stories that are, the stories are there, but the narrative is there, but they just plugged in different names. They updated it basically and put in names of some new people, like Papagalopoulos and others, Carter Page, and things and such. And now that we know Blumenthal, now that we know, isn't there a connection here? There was some connection here. Let me see, did I skip it? It's in here somewhere. Did I miss it? Yes. Yes. Mary Jacoby worked with Sidney Blumenthal at Salon Magazine back in 2004, who, by the way, they're about to go out of business. Jacoby worked with Sidney Blumenthal. Blumenthal also worked with Glenn Simpson and Jonathan Weiner. Holy smoke. So, as you can see, this is the cabal right there. So Mary Jacoby and Glenn Simpson are really the foundation of the narrative for the dossier. And they have all these other characters because they have an office in London. Baumgartner, and of course Nellie Orr and Baumgartner know each other very well, as well as the Simpsons. These people all know each other very well. Akhmechan, he was involved in the Trump Tower setup with Vetselnskaya, who was working for Fusion GPS. Everybody comes back to Fusion GPS. And who are they working for? Hillary Clinton. And whenever you see the name Sidney Blumenthal or Cody Shearer, those are straight up Hillary Clinton lackeys. These are the people who do the dirty work for the Clintons. And they're right in the middle of it. So it looks like the dossier, some of it was the garbage part of it, the pure garbage, the PP gate, the real sick stuff, which is what you'd imagine from Blumenthal and Shearer. Probably the real sick kind of crazy stuff came from Shearer and Blumenthal and was given to Fusion GPS that way. And the rest of it was building a narrative that Jacoby and Simpson created back when they were working for the Wall Street Journal. And then they used Nellie Orr and Baumgartner to pull in some more modern information to update their narrative. And that's really what the dossier is. It's just like a grab bag. It's just like a vegetable soup of garbage that they threw together. And it was only supposed to, remember, this was just supposed to be a piece of opposition research, and it was supposed to be the October surprise. They were supposed to release it probably somewhere about the second, third week of October, drop it on Trump. Then that would cause Trump to be under immediate scrutiny, and Hillary would win the election, and then they would cover all this up. They really weren't worried that someone would dig into all this stuff like we're doing and tie all this together and connect the dots and find all the crimes associated and all the associations of all these people. This was never supposed to happen because they never thought Hillary would lose. But she did. And that's why we are where we are today. And now we can see, and we're going to find out more of these types of who's who things about these connections to all these people. These people are all connected. It was a big cabal. Yes, it was. And they're busted. My, oh my. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. See you guys. Bye.